We just got some more details on when the next developer livestream is going to be. But most importantly, it's going to be about a very important subject in Anthem that honestly I believe will set it apart from some of the other games and just might be the most important factor in the game that we've yet to get any information on. So today we're going to go over the event, all of the details that you'll need to keep up to date on if you don't want to miss that stream, but also why I think talking about gear customization and personalization, will go over the difference in a second, and the Forge is the most important aspect of Anthem that we've yet to be getting clear answers out of. Everything that's been asked has given us really confusing or abstract or just ambiguous answers, but all of that on Thursday is going to become center stage, and I do think it is make or break for Anthem with this. My name is Ryan Central, and welcome back to another Anthem video. The next live stream will be this Thursday, November the 15th at 3 PM Austin time / 2 PM Edmonton time. We will be looking at the Forge specifically to show the ways you can customize the appearance of your Javelin's hype. It's looking likely that the stream will only last about half an hour with that full focus on the Forge. I've put in the description a time zone map to help you work out exactly what time the stream is in the area of the world that you're from. For us Brits, it's about 9 PM, 10 PM for Central Europeans, and yeah, the rest of you can kind of try and work it out from what I've just said. The stream will also be on twitch.tv/AnthemGame, which I'll put a link with in the first comment, but the best way to keep up to date with that is to join the Discord. I can ping everybody on there when the stream goes live, and you also have a community of people that you can talk to about what we've seen and what you want to see. It's a really good discussion coming out of the Discord right now. We have a lot of new Anthem faces joining, so if you're interested in that, then do pop along. But that's the when and the where. Now let's go over the what. There's a strong chance that you may have heard what the Forge is, but not quite sure what exactly it does. But you also may have heard people like myself say how important it might be in the game and the impact of what it can do in Anthem. The Forge is where you go to switch out your exosuits for your Javelin, for example switching from your Colossus to your Storm, but also equipping your gear, your weapons, your abilities, and also personalizing your suit. And this has been an area where a lot of confusion has come out, which I want to go over in a second. But there's two main areas that all of this stuff categorizes under. You have customization, which is how your Javelin acts. It's to do with your gear, your abilities, your weapons, the power of your suit, as opposed to personalization, which is only how your suit looks, the vanity aspect of it. So you have customization, which is how your Javelin plays, and personalization, which is how your Javelin looks. We don't really know how these two aspects coincide with one another, or whether they remain completely separate. To give a brief example of what I mean, I asked this question to Ben Irving. It boiled down to me asking, if you have a helmet slot on your Javelin, is it a power item? Does it provide stats to your suit? Does it provide strength and perks and all that kind of nice stuff? Or is it just purely cosmetic? And Ben Irving says you need to understand all the pieces for that to make sense. Which is a pretty cool answer because it suggests that the system is quite complicated and has a lot of hidden depth. But also it's very ambiguous and doesn't really answer the question at all. And there's been a lot of this soon, we'll talk about this soon, we'll go over that at a later date. That later date is going to be Thursday, and you can understand why so many people are excited to see this. So Thursday is going to provide a lot of new information on how the game works. Certainly a lot more than other streams that we had in the past. The other streams haven't been bad. In fact, it's been so relieving to see people playing the game in front of us, especially Ben Irving and Mike Gamble, and see different examples of difficulty, enemies, and missions. But everything that we've seen so far isn't any different to other games of its kind. You could probably imagine a question that I get asked the most. How is this game different to Destiny? Warframe is another example of that, but I'll get onto that in a second. Now, it's easy for us fans of Anthem to scoff at the idea of somebody thinking that these games are very similar. Of course, there are big differences between Destiny and Anthem, but the issue is we haven't really seen it physically yet. We know that there's going to be different aspects in the game that is going to separate it. For example, the story in Anthem, because it's BioWare, they have this dynamic story system, our world, my story kind of stuff, but we haven't seen that in action yet when it comes to gameplay. And not only that, we haven't seen loot customization, the ability to set difficulties, and every sort of separate piece of the game that we've seen so far is present in other games too. You have the Stronghold mission, which is comparable to a strike or an instance. You have the patrol missions from Paris, which isn't very much different to the patrol missions again in Destiny or other games of its kind. And then you have the open world stuff, dynamic content, public events that happen. Again, it happens in other games. This isn't strictly different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying that Anthem is too similar to these games. It's more, this is why the Forge is so important. Because it's the centerpiece of Anthem. It's the engine, the heart, the thing that keeps the rest of the game spinning around. And no doubt the place that players are going to spend the majority of their time. And we've seen what other players can do with the screenshots that have come out of different Javelin personalizations, the blue Colossus from the thumbnail, the N7 skin for the Interceptor, this Dragon Scaly one which looks amazing on the Interceptor 2. You get the idea. This is what makes Anthem different. Granted, you do have the arsenal like in Warframe where you customize your suits on how it looks and how it plays, but the Forge is also where you pick missions, change out your suits entirely, and also pick difficulties for said missions. So it's more than just here is your wardrobe. The Forge connects every single aspect of the game that we've seen so far. Also think of it like this. Everything that we've seen of Anthem so far has been completely disconnected. We have the Stronghold that we did on the Colossus, we had the patrol mission that we did on the Storm, and then the open world missions that we did with Ben and Mike. We have Fort Tarsis, and we have the Forge, and we don't know how any of it connects to one another, so we have just like shells and pieces of a game that we haven't really seen how it all works and coincides in one another. And that comes into play because of the Forge. The Forge connects the strongholds, the missions, the open world, your suits, your customization, how it looks, and also Fort Tarsis, the story, the difficulty. The Forge shows us how to do anything, to change a pursuit, to change up a stronghold, the difficulty, to go and do a story, to go out in the world and get crafting items. It connects all of the pieces that have remained disconnected and separate to give us our fully fledged game. I remember hearing from John Warner, who is the game director. I believe he's just like the boss out of everybody like Matt Darrah, Ben Irving and Mike Gamble. And he was saying how the game took a lot of influence from Diablo 3, both for its difficulty settings and also the loot system. So if Anthem could be one of these looter shooter games with that much hidden depth in its loot system, the loadouts, the ability, then that will be huge for the game, and I think that'll be enough to separate it. So you can imagine why I'm really excited to see the Forge, the customization, the loadouts, the weapons, the abilities, and how it all works in the game, because we just have no idea at this point. So this is why I'm getting all up in arms about this and very excited to make this video just talking about it. And Thursday is going to be a huge stream on how this is all going to affect the game. But that's just my point. We have a live stream coming out on Thursday. You know exactly when it's going to happen now and what it's going to cover and why it's so important for the game. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Do subscribe if you did. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.